All right, everyone. Welcome to this weekend Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for March 31st through April 2nd of 2017. So this weekend, not a whole lot going on astrologically. We've got the moon in Taurus all weekend long, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Making this, first of all, a good weekend for feeling good. The moon's exalted in Taurus. We could be feeling quite grounded at the very least. But generally, Taurus is about the bull, right? Taking things one step at a time, enjoying things, stopping to smell the roses, and perhaps even accessing a bit of that resourceful nature of ourselves. Being prudent about things can help us stay nice and grounded this weekend. So no major aspects this weekend, just with the moon, which we will talk about in more detail. But we are in the early phases of this lunar cycle. We just started that new moon earlier this week. So I think fundamentally this weekend, it's a really good time to sort of evaluate where life has taken us into that new direction since earlier in the week, and start to see what little seedlings are sprouting in our life. And we may notice that some seedlings we don't want to grow this 30 days in this year with this new cycle. But some we do. So starting to see which ones are the strongest, which ones are the healthiest little seedlings, new things, and nurturing them, watering them, cultivating them as we move forward. So that's the early phase of this cycle. And with Taurus, again, I think it's really good for that grounded energy. But we do have a lot of this watery energy still. We have all these planets in Pisces. So still very good for maybe rest, relaxation, listening to that intuition. And really what we've been developing since earlier in the week is more acceptance, letting go of everything outside of our control, surrendering everything outside of our control to free us up, to have more peace and tranquility in our lives. All right, so I think that's the general gist of the weekend, but let's go ahead and break it down in more detail. All right, so Taurus is all about Earth, essentially. It's the bull. It's taking things one step at a time. So great weekend for those types of things. But because we take things one step at a time, we can actually stop and smell the roses. Really good weekend for that. Again, getting into the sensual side of life, whether it's maybe going out to dinner or relaxing at home, maybe a hot bath, aromas, incense, things like this. Things that invoke the senses and that we enjoy, that are sort of palpable, can be very enjoyable with the moon exalted in Taurus. But also good for, things that do require a slow and steady approach, such as being resourceful in our life, utilizing our resources, being prudent, about the future, caring about the future, being concerned about it in such a way that we are grounded and, again, taking things steadily. So all weekend the moon will be here, and all weekend all these planets will be in Pisces still. So still a very watery, dreamy, intuitive time. Very good for spiritual activities. Very good for rest and relaxation. And again, this whole lunar cycle started in Pisces. So really what we're cultivating here in this early phase of the cycle is more of this acceptance and surrender and letting go of everything that's outside of our control. And the more capable and able we are to accept in our life, there is a tremendous peace and intuition arising collectively in each of us. All right, so that's Pisces. And of course, Mars is still in Aries. Mercury is kind of making his way in there. He's going to go in there next week. But Mars in Aries, very good still for our own personal needs. There is this clarity about what we want and how to get what we want and how to be direct and even independent. So all that energy is still strong, even though it is a very watery time. All right, so let's look at these minor aspects this weekend, just so you can get a feel for these days. So on Friday, the most important thing is a sextile to Venus, just a sort of opening. Nothing major, but again, I think with the moon, just shifting into Taurus, it just makes it a really good day for the values. Again, if it's material values and enjoying things on that level, or maybe it's relationships with Venus. Now, Venus is of course still retrograde, so there is all this sort of reconsideration, rethinking. The whole perspective on relationships is changing, and so I think just being flexible there can be beneficial. Then on Saturday, as we go into April, happy April, everyone. We've got a couple aspects. The moon will be squaring up to Neptune in midday, and then trending up to Jupiter the second half. So with the square up to Neptune, there might be, I don't think it's major, but there might be a bit of uncertainty, a bit of doubt perhaps, or just cloudy energy, or maybe it's hard to relax for whatever reason. So I think challenging ourselves with that Pisces energy I was talking about, maybe challenging ourselves to meditate, to relax, to take it easy, to take a step back, and again, release everything outside of our control. Can be a great way of constructively working with Saturday. And then as a result, I think it can be a very peaceful, tranquil, and easygoing day. The second half, the trine up to Jupiter, maybe feeling a bit expansive, inspired, really good for philosophy, maybe going for a walk, anything that expands our horizons. Jupiter is also retrograde, so I might be feeling inspired towards possibilities. And that can be great, but with flexibility, understanding that all these possibilities that have been expanding this past month and a half has been going through a rehashing, a reconsideration, and so reworking those possibilities might be emphasized as well. But Sunday, a lot going on. I think the most important being a T-square with the moon, Venus, and Saturn. So coming back to those values, because again, the moon will still be in Taurus, still be a good day for that sensual and slow and steady energy. Maybe there's some clash here with the values, maybe with relationships. It's possible. So extra attention on that, on being grateful for what we have in our life, being grateful for who we have in our life. And I think with the opposition up to Saturn, just being grounded ourselves, being patient, disciplined, having emotional mastery, extra attention on the self can help balance things out. But again, I don't think it's a major thing. These are all minor aspects this weekend, but I did just want to give you a sort of gist about the days. The moon sextile Uranus, also on Sunday, could be a good day for mixing things up, trying something new and different. And sextile Mercury, the second half, can make it good for reading, writing, communication, things like that. All right, so this weekend, very simply, it's Taurus. And it's a great weekend for taking things slowly, enjoying things, stopping to smell the roses, getting into earth, being grateful for what we have in our life, and all of that can be very grounding. And again, we are in the early phases of the lunar cycle, so maybe starting to see what little seedlings have started to prop up in our life since earlier in the week, and maybe nurturing those, because now, we can start to see what is actually growing. When we were in the new moon, we didn't exactly know what new was shaping up, but now in this early phase, we start to see the little seedlings. So seeing which things we do want to cultivate for the next 30 days and the next 6 months, next year, is a great way of working with this weekend, and maybe even letting some things go that we don't want to cultivate and then putting the energy into the things we do want to cultivate. All right, so I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Thank you again for all of your likes, comments, and shares, and I will see you all on Monday. Take care.